welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and welcome to a Remember the Name segment where we are going to be looking back on the career of Diniyar Bilyaletdinov. He signed for Everton in 2009 and spent 2.5 years at the club. With me, I've got Max Carlisle and Terry McAllister to look back on Diniyar Bilyaletdinov's short and sort of sweet Everton career. So, what did you guys make of Bilyaletdinov? Like, what was your memories of when we signed him back in 2009? Terry, what was your opinion on Bilyaletdinov?
Well, his debut was against Olympiacos, wasn't it?
AEK Athens, I think.
AEK Athens, I always do that. My apologies. AEK Athens in the Europa League or the UEFA Cup as it was then, I think. But yeah, he basically came on for his debut and he was part of like an influx of players who we bought at the back of selling Jolie and Lescott. So we bought in Distan, Heitinger and Bilyaletdinov, possibly one more, I'm not sure. But definitely those three. And he was the most exciting one because he was like obviously an attacking player. And when he came in, I think he plays him off the right. Or he moved, no, I tell a lie. I think he brought him in and put him on the left and moved Pienaar to the right, which I thought was strange at the time because at that time we were in the full swing of, like Baines Pienaar sort of, partnership. And it was, it was one of the most stable, safe parts of the team. But then Bilyaletdinov came in and he goes onto the left and he was a beast in his first game. He was whipping in corners, whipping in free kicks. And it was apparent straight away that he was, his main skill was like long distance, passing, long distance shooting. He looked great on his debut, and he was the one player who taught me the lesson everyone has to learn, and some people like myself learned the hard way: is you can't trust a YouTube highlights video. Now, bear in mind, 2009, so it wasn't as commonly known then as it is now. It's the video I watched before we got Bilyaletdinov, when we were linked with him. I'm telling you, it's not up on YouTube. I looked for it today, but it's not up anymore. But he looked like Kevin De Bruyne. Honestly, he was just a machine in the Russian league. He was everywhere. None of the players could live with him, but he was playing in like a number 10 position. And I remember thinking at the time, going, well, he's not going to come in on the left because of Pienaar, and he's not going to come in at number 10 because of Cahill, because Cahill was very much established then. He was nowhere near the end of his Everton career yet. So I thought, well, maybe this is what we're going to do. We're going to bring him in and put him on the right, and he's going to cut in on his, absolute rocket to the left foot, and the same way Pienaar does on the other side, and we'll have overlapping fullbacks the same way we have with Baines, and we'll have one at right back as well. Obviously, we can get into it a little bit later on about how it didn't work out like that, but I was dead excited for him. His video made him look amazing, and then when he came in for his debut, and he was just fantastic against, admittedly a weaker side, a European side, but I was excited. I thought he was going to be absolutely quality.
Well, I think it's funny you should say that, because my dad gives me a lot of stick over Bilyaletdinov because I went running to him saying, we're getting this fella, he's going to be amazing. He's like you say, he's going to have to wander the left foot. He's going to score some brilliant goals for us. And to be fair, he did score a couple of brilliant goals for us, but it was more, again, I remember seeing him. He wasn't actually a starter, I don't think, but he made a few appearances at the Euros the year before in 2008, and Russia did really well. I think they got to the semi-finals and were knocked out by Spain. But they beat the Netherlands and everything, I think, at that tournament. They were really, really good, and of course they qualified at England's expense. So we knew a lot about that Russian team, and I'd seen more of Bilyaletdinov than probably most people had at that point, and I thought he's going to be brilliant, and obviously it wasn't to be. What about you, Max? Were you aware of Bilyaletdinov at all before he signed?
Yeah. That as you say, that 2008 Russian team, like I think Alan Zagayev was the sort of the star off the back of it all, but not too far close behind. You did have Billy. I think we've learnt now from Umar Nias that if what you see isn't what you get when it comes to sniffing players from that Russian market. But I mean, everything that we say now is obviously in retrospect, and we can't help but be a bit jaded. I mean, yeah, his sort of long distance game was absolutely sensational. I think it's pretty obvious now, as I say, looking back in retrospect, he just didn't have the physical attributes to sort of cope with the Premier League, and as you say, did quite well in Europe. But yeah, he came in as part of the good group of players. I mean, Johnny Aitinga, Sylvain Distin, so a good sort of group of players that he's come in with. Was never going to be the best left foot at the club. That was always Leighton Baines. Was never going to be the left-sided midfielder at the club. That was always Stephen Pienaar. It wasn't exactly going to be the best attacking midfielder. That was between Timmy Cahill and Mikel Arteta. So he was in a sort of position where he had to come in and be, outstanding straight away, which is always a pretty high bar to sort of live up to. I mean, I was there at Wolves away, which was the anniversary. That wasn't too long ago when we beat Wolves at the Molineux. And Bilyaletdinov scored one of his trademark absolute screamers into the top corner from about 25 yards out. And I think Phil Neville went and did him one better and scored one that was like pretty much identical. Yeah, I think that was in his first season. And then obviously Stephen Pienaar's left, gone to Tottenham, which has obviously freed them up a bit more to, press on and do more things in a blue shirt. And I mean, got examples of that goal against Manchester United when we went and beat them 3-1, scored it again. They all seem to be like this trademark similar goal. And I remember a one against Portsmouth, which, if I'm not wrong, was about 35, 40 yards out, which was an absolute peach. But yeah, again, while all these sort of goals are flying in once every other couple of weeks, he's just not really making he's not making himself one of the first names on the sheet. And the club sort of moved on in that time. And I mean, nice fella by all accounts. I mean, I've met him a couple of times actually. I met him firstly, it was at Bohemians. We played Bohemians, when the London riots were going on, and we had our first game against Tottenham, I think it was, away, postponed, and we decided to go and play against Bohemians in Ireland. So I met him there, and not too earlier before that, and I've still got the video on my phone. I was only young as well. Don't even know if I was a teenager, but we played Bury in a pre-season friendly, and someone had brought a Russian flag. I don't know why. I don't even think he just signed for us. I think it was a couple of seasons in actually. But I think that's fair to say it. People did have high thoughts of him, and thought he was a decent player. Just shame it didn't work out.
I think you made a really good point there about the situation of positions like Baines, Pienaar, the likes of Arteta and Cahill. Like it was very hard to find a place for him in the starting 11 when you had established stars in the team like that. It begs the question, really. Obviously, we got a lot of money for Joleon Lescott, and I just think at times he was a good player, and I don't think he's as bad as some people might say, but we could have spent that 9 million a lot better on someone who could have added something to the team in a position where we were weaker, maybe, because Bilyaletdinov wasn't really the answer as a right winger, unfortunately. It's just because we have bought a proper right winger with that money, as opposed to splurging it on a granted very gifted player, but maybe the money was a bit of a panic buy in the wake of the Lescott sale.
Yeah, I mean, possibly. I remember just at the time thinking, like, it'll come good because Moyes did not get many wrong. Like, he very, the odd one, you can probably count on your hands in his entire spell, the amount of transfers that he brought in, which didn't come off, and especially ones that spent decent money on. Like, I mean, it's sad to say, I think Bilyaletdinov was one of the ones that counts against him alongside, the Krolldrup and the like. But obviously, when we got Lescott's money in, he did waste it. Like, he brought in the like-for-like replacement for Lescott for a lot less money. He brought in Distin, who was almost the same profile of player, like big, strong, left-footed centre-half who can, who had, decent pace to go alongside Jagielka. All right, he was a few years older, but, the shape he was in, it didn't really affect him. But what we needed at the time, more than anything, was a new right back and a new right midfielder, and we brought Heitinga in, and I think people expected him to be the right back, and then it was become very quickly apparent that he was a centre back, and he probably only played a couple of games at right back, and then Bilyaletdinov comes in, and people assume, well, is he going to be the right hand side Pienaar, and he can't play there either. So it was like we bought two players for very good money at the time, especially for Everton when we weren't like, flush for cash, but we bought in a £10 million, £9 million player in the same position as Stephen Pienaar, and then Heitinger, who was, I think he was 6 million, 5 million, in the same position as Jagielka, who was another nailed-on starter. So it was, either it was panic buying or it was not very well researched, investments, and that was just unwise-like at the time, I think. And all right, the two of them, pulled their weight with regards to them. They weren't complete flops. They, particularly Heitinger did all right at Everton and, did quite well at times, but it just wasn't what we needed. We needed a right back, we needed a right midfielder, and we went out and got a left back and a left midfielder and a centre back. It just didn't make sense to me.
It's just bizarre when you think everyone goes on and like with retrospect, they look back on David Moyes and they always remember how he did so many scouting reports and he used to take ages looking over players, and it's just bizarre that given that much research and all of a sudden we come into some money and he goes and makes those kinds of decisions. It's quite bizarre and maybe a bit of a death knell, I think, for David Moyes' career at Everton, because it's not often we had that kind of money to spend kicking on from the cup final the year before. We could have gone somewhere, but he made the wrong decision.
Yeah, I mean, it was something you could definitely say against Moyes at his time at Everton, that when he had money, he didn't buy well. When he didn't have money, he did. Like, so when all of his £2 million, £3 million signings, 5 million, literally nearly all of them came off. The Artetas, the Cales, the Pienaars, the Baineses, they were all great. But then when he had any money to spend, he bought a Bilyaletdinov or something like.
If I'm not wrong as well, I think at the time when we did sign Billy, he was our third most expensive signing. I mean, you might want to chase me up on that and see if I'm wrong, but still, as you say, it sort of feeds to the point that, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be as critical. I don't think it's a stain on Moyes' record per se, as I mean, we were blessed with Seamus Coleman to come in and do that right midfield job not too much shortly after, but 24 years old at the time he signed for Everton, Billy, and I mean, it is just one of them. There aren't too many examples of Russian players coming in and sort of making the league their own. So you can give him a pass.
Oh yeah, I definitely don't think it's like a stain against Moyes. It's strange for its uniqueness, really, because it was so very rare that he made a poor buy.
Yeah.
He was fantastic almost throughout his whole time at Everton, but this one it sticks out because it was such an odd signing. Decent player. I personally think, and I think you've alluded to it as well, Max, that it wouldn't have been. It just might not be the right league. Some players just don't suit certain leagues, but they do others. And we weren't used to that because we were used to every player signing for the first team coming off. Whereas this one might have just been a case of he's come in and he's been really good in other leagues, but this just is a bit too fast for him, a little bit too physical. That may have been why he never really played him in the number 10. Maybe once, twice he did, but there's a lot of people crying out for him to play there, and he never would. And I don't know whether that was because he knew he wouldn't survive in the centre of the midfield in the Premier League because they're all too fast and too strong, and they'll just bully him.
David Klassen.
Yeah.
Yeah, good shout. Might just another one of them where when it was Travis Klassen, and he did look, badly out of his depth, didn't he? Apart from maybe in some of the European games.
Yeah, decent little transition, I think, for the next thing that we're going to go on to talk about as well. Remember we talked about this in the group chat as well, Teddy, the Reece Jones memorial shirt that we had, the purple shirt that got released. Me and my brother both got one each. I think I got Bilyaletdinov on the back and my brother got Yakubu. So, yeah.
I never snapped that kit off. That was one of the nicest kits we'd ever done.
Yeah, I think for the novelty value of having Bilyaletdinov on the back as well, I think I had to get him on the back of one of my shirts.
Yeah, definitely.
It's one of them, you just got to hope that they weren't charging by the letter.
Yeah. Tell me about it. He was might still be the longest single name player we've had. I think the likes of Calvert-Lewin might beat him out, but they've got a dash, so they don't count.
Yeah, it's one of those. I think it's what I love about when we sign players with big names like that. I just love to hear people try and pronounce them. How did you first pronounce his name when he arrived?
Do you know what? The way it is, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't just say it off the top of my head. I practiced it. I made sure I knew. I didn't want to come off as I didn't know. So I like read it phonetically and was like Bilyaletdinov, and it does just read how it says. So I picked it up quite quickly. I've not managed that with every single player with a dodgy name, but with Billy, I got that. And I was a purist for ages. I wouldn't say Billy. Don't know why. I was like, no, Bilyaletdinov, Diniyar Bilyaletdinov, and everyone else just got Billy. Yeah, and I'm like, no, Bilyaletdinov. Then I took it very seriously for some bizarre reason.
Yeah, I'd echo that. Like Bilyaletdinov, Strachwalesi, like I'd write them all out.
Yeah.
I'd make sure I'd have them nailed down. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me it was always a case of whatever I saw first just like stuck in my head, and it was Bilyaletdinov for a while, and then eventually it takes you a couple of games of maybe listening to the commentary to suss it out, because up until that point I'd only seen him at the Euros and on Footy Manager, so that was all I had to run by.
Yeah, I'm still not forgiven Moise Keane for stitching me up on his name. Told everyone for weeks when we were signing him, his name's Moise Ken. I'd heard everyone else calling him Moise Ken, all the pundits who were talking about him on anything, you know, when the racism thing in Italy came up, and they all referred to him as Moise Ken. And then he gets here first day in an Everton top, and he goes, "Well, how'd you say your name?" He goes, "Moise Keane." I go, oh. Made an absolute idiot out of me to everyone I'd spoke to, because they all like said, "Hang on, you told me it was like I thought I was right."
Oh, I love that sort of stuff, though. I think that's the beauty of like the age of social media, where like players can set the story right, if you like.
I mean, Jagielka's the worst. He knows his name's not Jagielka, but he still just that's my football name. It's Jagielka or something like that, isn't it?
It's Jagielka, I think.
That's if you heard him say it, it's absolutely off the wall. But I think he actually said, "I've just accepted Jagielka as my name in football, and my actual name is it's not even Jagielka, it's Jagielka. Like it's you can't even say it easily. It's a Polish name, isn't it?
Yeah, pronouncing Polish names is probably the hardest one for me. I think Blaszczykowski, that took a while to get grips with.
Paul struggled with Tosin for ages. Kept calling him Tucson. Put my head in. Kept connecting him, but wasn't like he knew. It wasn't like he was like determined that it was Tucson. He just had a quirk when he couldn't get his head around it.
Yeah, I think it's one of those with Bilyaletdinov. It was just a case of, like you say, I think reading it out phonetically was the best part of it, because like I couldn't suss it out for the life of me. Because like I say, I found him on Football Manager even before those Euros, I think, and he was a beast on that, by the way. So it was like I was adamant that this guy was going to turn out to be amazing, and then obviously it didn't really work out that way. He was, like you say, I think he got knocked off the ball too easily, and I think he was too slow. He just really wasn't, like you say, he wasn't cut out for the Premier League, but maybe he probably would have cut the mustard in like maybe a Serie A or a slower league, perhaps.
Yeah, probably. It's we'll never know, but I've got fond memories of him anyway. I just think it was the wrong league, wrong club for him. I think he wanted to do well, but he just wanted too much time on the ball. So Max has got it in one. He was an earlier version of Klasan. Like he had the talent, and it just didn't work out for him.
So what would you say? Just unfulfilled potential, or
probably, yeah.
Yeah, it's a difficult way to describe Bilyaletdinov, because it was clear that he could deliver because he scored those screamers we were talking about. But
yeah, he did hit some thunderbolts, didn't he?
Yeah, I think perhaps it was just a case of wrong league, wrong time, maybe wrong club as well, maybe. Certainly didn't really fit into this side, like you say, full of established first teamers. It was always going to be a big ask for him, and I think you can all say he did all right, and he gave us a few fond memories with those goals. But Bilyaletdinov obviously moved on in 2012 he went to that Anzi Makacha. There's a name I can't pronounce. Makachakala or whatever. He went there, I think, and
Anzi will do.
Anzi, yeah. I used to love that. That was my favourite one, trying to pronounce that, actually, when they first burst onto the scene. They came and went as well, similar to Bilyaletdinov did at Everton, really. Like, as a club, he just came and went, didn't he?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just the story of Russian enigmas.
We've got another one. Oh no, it's not. He's Uzbek. Tell a lie. I'll take that back. It's not Russian, is he? But it's
Ali Usmanov.
yeah. Sorry, Alice. Yeah, just called you Russian and you're Uzbek. My mistake.
Well, let's hope he shows up and stays for a bit longer than 2.5 years.
Hope he's not a 2-year spell.
Let's hope he delivers. But there you have it, guys. That's the Remember the Name section of the show done. We're going to move on to the next section. And if you're on YouTube, be sure to tune into that separate video as well, where we are going to be looking back on Everton kits, past and present.